This is Barbara with Cana Girl Speaks podcast. My voice, your voice. Good evening, everybody. This is Barbara with the Cana Girl Speaks podcast, and I am very excited to be recording on this evening. I'm very excited today because this is a very historical day. Judge Jackson has been confirmed as the Supreme Court Justice. And so that is historical. And like I heard one commentator say, regardless of what side of the fence you're on, it is historical. And I can say my granddaughters can now say that they're in a time where they have the possibilities of them one day being a Supreme Court judge as well. So let's get started. But I'm excited to welcome this young lady on this evening. I've been kind of scheduling her, and I was like, I got to get her on. And so I'm glad that she accepted the invitation to be on the podcast because I know she is very busy. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce to those out on YouTube and also those that are listening, Mayor Angie.
Hi.
And she is the mayor of Ennis, Texas. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Barbara. I'm so excited to be here. I really am.
Well, I'm just excited that you took the time out to be on this small little podcast. I say small because I'm not one of the big mega ones, but I do feel like this is one of a podcast that does have a voice. And so just thank you again, like I said, for being on the podcast. And so why don't you tell the listening audience and those that are watching out on YouTube who Mayor Angie is?
So Mayor Angie is one of the titles that me, Angie Juenemann, carries. She is a daughter and a mother and an aunt and a friend. She is a business person. She is a lover of humanity. Yeah. She is I consider myself a spider because I have this ability to weave people together, and that's really important to me. And it's I guess it's a God-given talent because it's not anything that I have ever tried really hard to do. It's just the way that I am. So That's Mayor Angie.
So I guess you're on your second term as mayor. Third term, okay. And so let's wind back on when you decided to become the mayor, because I know that was you had to think it out, and you had to take the plunge and say, so what made you want to run for the mayor of Ennis, Texas?
Well, there's a couple of different things. So we had it was the oldest house in the city of Ennis, and I wanted to save it because they were building a car wash. And so I was determined to save it and move it to some place, to put it in a park or a museum or something. I had the money to do it. I had a friend backing me. I had lots and lots and lots of donations. We did fundraisers and things like that. And when I had all those things in place, I went to the city of Ennis, and it was an impossibility. I mean, the answers kept being no, no, no. And I'm like, why not? Why not? Why not? And I couldn't get any good answers as to why I couldn't get it. Mm-hmm. So the house got saved. It's actually in Midlothian now. But it really began me going to city commission meetings and things like that. And I am a native Ennisite. I've always been really involved in the community. I love my town. I love the people there. So when our former mayor decided not to run, but I'd never really considered running for an office, but our former mayor came up to me one day and he said, I'd like you to be the next mayor of the city of Ennis. And I was like, wait, who? Me? What? What? Nah. I go, my husband will divorce me. I mean, that's the first thing that came out because he's very protective. So truly I said, well, let me think about it. So I started thinking about it, and then I took a drive to Virginia Beach, which is where my daughter lives, and I just had this conversation with myself, and inside of me, whether you call it, your inner voice, whatever and it just kept saying, you must do this. You must do this. And I was like, I'm going to get nailed to the cross. I am not a perfect, I'm very imperfect, but it just wouldn't go away. And I talked to my husband a lot about it, and he's very protective, but he was like, are you sure? I said, hon, this voice just won't go anywhere. Yeah. So I jumped in.
You jumped in, and so you hit the pavement running.
I did.
And I've been watching you for a while because I just believe in always paying attention to those that are all about change, all about making a difference, empowerment. I continue to use the word empowerment, and even though I live in Corsicana, I still pay attention to. I pay attention to you and Ennis, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that is a progressive person. That is a person that wants to see, people in power. I know Mayor Jackson, and she talks highly of you, and so I was like, oh, I just gotta be connected with. I just gotta be near her, like that. And so, how hard is it, being a female in a leadership role? And, we can't say, in a male-dominated society because, our society has been run by males, And so, the reason why I wanted to bring you on, because I want to encourage our girls, our women, the possibilities. I had a executive, banker on last podcast, and just to show that our girls and our women the possibilities, And so, what kind of challenges did you have? I mean, I know the traditional challenges, but I know as women we come up against a male-dominated society where women belong at home, they don't belong in leadership roles, But I do know there is a shift. Yeah. And so do you see it getting better? Do you see? I know, like I said, you're paving the way.
I hope so.
Yeah, you're paving the way, and I feel like you're moving obstacles out the way for the next generation of women leaders. And so, how hard was it?
Well, first of all, I grew up with 7 brothers and sisters, and 6 are boys and 1's a girl, and all born within 10 years. So there's 8 children in 10 years, and I've always been around boys. So I've always just considered them no real different than I am. Yeah. I mean, I started changing diapers and cooking and things like that when I was 4 years old just to help my mom. So I was never intimidated by boys or men or whatever. But so I am the first mayor in Ellis County and the city of Ennis that is a female.
Oh, really?
Yeah, ever first one ever elected. So I'm very proud of that because, as you said, I think it paints the picture to our young people and even to people in our own peer group.
Yeah. If
you have a calling, you can do it. It's not always easy, but if you get that calling in your heart, one of my favorite things that I say is be the change you want to see in the world. Yeah. That is what I live by. And my newest one is live a great story. And that's what I think we all have the ability to do. We just have to help each other up. We have to support one another as women and as humans and encourage and not be jealous. I mean, we are here to help one another in the end. And by helping one another and by, forging relationships, we can do anything.
Yeah. I said that to a business person I think it was just yesterday, and I was like, we don't work against each other. No. Work together. What you have, you can help somebody else, or vice versa, because it's all about we can make you can make the money together.
Yes.
And we all can share the wealth. And so that's where we need to be now. I get it. We've done that. Everybody work against each other, but now it's like, hey, let's just work together. So, what would you tell your 10-year-old self?
I would tell my 10-year-old self to be bold. The only thing I ever got in trouble for in school was that I talked too much and that I was too social. But what's interesting is that is that created the book of my life and who I am as a woman now. So I think some of the times that we think when we're young and or whatever, and we think they're detriments to who we are, they're actually the most positive things as long as we recognize them and use them to the best of our ability. So I would just say to my just be bold.
Yeah.
Just go for it.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing that can happen is that you don't accomplish that thing, so you try something else.
Yeah.
You never let yourself get down. You just pick yourself back up. I mean, we've got one life to live, and every chapter is important, good, bad, or indifferent. So I think.
So what kind of legacy do you see yourself leaving? What would you like to leave as a legacy?
I'd like my legacy to be she loved and was loved. That's very important to me because I think love in the end is what wins everything.
Yeah.
And to have conversations with people, to elevate people, to realize, in a disruptive world where we feel like everything is being torn apart, I want to be one of those people that allows us to come together and to love one another and understand that unity and elevating one another wins in the end. So yeah, to love, she was loved and she loved.
So do you feel like you're an approachable mayor? I feel like you are, because sometimes leaders can be like, no, don't, I'm up here and you're down here. And so do you feel like, anybody in your community, regardless of what side of the tracks they're on, where they are, that you're approachable mayor?
Absolutely. And what's interesting is I think, because I'll get phone calls and I think they think it goes to someone and it never goes to me. Well, I'll call people and I'm like, hi, it's Mayor Angie. And they're like, oh, you called me? And I was like, well, yeah, because you called me. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes things that start out, whether it's a pothole or whatever it may be, having a conversation one-on-one.
Yeah.
And knowing that, we all really care. So let's just talk about it. But I think, yes, I am the person in the grocery store that if I don't know who they are, I go, how are you doing today? How long have you been here? Did you just move here? So yeah, I'm very approachable. I mean, people will tell you that.
So do you worry about, just because of everything that's going on, we talk about the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
All that. And do you worry about the communities as far as our young people? Because, you hear they talk about the workforce, and how hard it is for these companies or these, businesses to get, workforce. And so do you worry about that as a mayor, as far as the future of your city? What do you think is coming down the pipeline?
Well, I think COVID, if it did one thing, it taught us that there are different ways to work.
Mm-hmm.
I think also the disruption of that will help us achieve more balance in our lives. I also think that we need to empower our young people to let them know that they matter.
Yeah.
And 40-hour work weeks and things like that, I think we have to evolve as a society to understand that people want harmony in their lives, actually. Yeah. They don't even want balance. They want harmony so that they can spend time doing this and time doing this. And I think, I love our young people. I'm proud of our young people. I do think that social media is a very positive thing, but I also think that, now we're back to where we're talking to one another and we're seeing one another. And I've noticed on social media, it seems like there's less, and that empowers me to know that we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
We're going to be okay.
Yeah. I'm excited. I know that, you're continuing on your path of leadership. And I know that, you're going to, I always say, reach one, teach one, do you go back and do you talk to young people? Do you encourage them to be in leadership roles? Do you have a mentorship program? Just that, because, I believe in, growing your, teaching, teaching your next replacements or, gathering the next group of leaders, that's important because sometimes when you have communities that don't, you look around and they haven't anybody young to replace them, then it goes, it dies out,
It does.
And so do you reach out to young people for them to see, how the mayor's office works? Do they come to you? How important is that to reach young people like that?
Oh, I think it's very important. And again, going back to the approachable thing, I am so proud that the people that I have so many people through Facebook or through Instagram that connect with me who are, 15, 17, 20, 21. And it seems like I'm getting more and more and more of it because they want to know, they want to learn. Yes, I do mentor. We haven't started our mentorship program that I'd like to implement in the city of Venice, but I believe in raising the next community of leaders because you're exactly right. Because if you don't, you have people that are in jobs for 30 and 40 years, and God bless them for having it that long. But we need change. We need fresh eyes. We need the history, and we need the knowledge of what has been combined with a progress and seeing what appears to be impossible. So I think it's a good combination of both. But absolutely, I encourage. I go to the Boys and Girls Club. I talk to them. I talk to schools. I see kids riding skateboards, which are not supposed to be downtown. I'm like, your parents will not be happy if you break your head or whatever. But I say, hey, what's going on? Tell me what's up. And they'll talk to me about, we need this or we need this. So, listening is so very important.
Yeah. Well, I can say, the eyes are on Ennis because even some of the Corsicana people, they say, oh, have you seen Ennis's downtown? It's so well lit, and so it's so beautiful at night, and so the eyes are on you, even though we always say, Corsicana and Ennis are like rivals, Ennis Lions and Corsicana Tigers, but it's all in love, and so I always say, what Ennis is doing, we can do the same thing that they're doing. So anyway, I'm just excited for the city of Ennis, and I'm excited for your leadership. Yeah. And so, Mayor Angie, I want to say thank you, for taking the time out. She had to drive down here and come to the studio. So that means that she took some time out for the Cana Girl Speaks podcast. So I want to say thank you so much for just doing that and being on the podcast. And so I always give my guests an opportunity to give their shout outs to anybody that'd like to give their shout outs to. So I'm going to give you the opportunity.
Okay, I'm going to give my shout outs to the Bluebonnet Festival that is taking place this weekend.
I saw that on TV. I said, oh my goodness, the Bluebonnet Festival.
Bluebonnet Festival, and to all the Garden Club members, to Becky McCarty, who is our Main Street director, to everyone that is helping and involved. Shout out to you. We're going to have a great festival. Come see us.
I know. I'm excited because I saw some commercials on television about it, and I was like, I got to get to the Bluebonnet Festival because I know it's going to. I've never been, so I'm going to try to make it a point to go. So you don't have to go. not knocking the Arboretum, but we go right there and we can go to Ennis, Texas and see the Bluebonnets.
For 40 miles. You can drive
40 miles.
And then come hear great music and things like that. Yes. And I want to thank you, Barbara, so much for inviting me.
Well, thank you. I'm just, I'm just a vessel, and so I just all about empowerment, and so anyway, but thank you again, Mayor Angie, for being on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Okay. I enjoyed it.
Okay. So to my listening audience and those that are watching on YouTube, thank you for always supporting the Cana Girl Speaks podcast. Support the Bluebonnet Festival. We also, and of course, Cana also has Derek Days coming up at the end of this month. And so just thank you always for supporting the Cana Girl Speaks podcast. Have a good afternoon, good evening, and have a good weekend. Thank you.
This is a Legacy Recording Studio production.